and like usefulness the amount of labor embodied in a commodity can be objectively measured by how long it took to make it, for instance. However, all wealth, not just commodities, shares this characteristic of being products of human labor. What we want to know is how do commodities differ from other forms of wealth. Wealth, we know, only takes the form of commodities under certain social conditions, specifically, when it is produced for sale. Similarly with labor, used up human energy, under the same social conditions it becomes value. Thus value is not something you can find in the physical or chemical properties of a commodity, for it is a social property, a social relation. However, as value only expresses itself in exchange, as exchange value, this social relation appears as a relation between things. This is what is behind Marx's writing about the fetishism of commodities. Price is the monetary expression of value. One conclusion we can draw from the fact that commodities consistently exchange for one another in fixed ratios is that all commodities must share some common characteristic to a greater or lesser degree. What? As articles of wealth all commodities share two characteristics: they are useful and they are products of human labor. Which of these could provide a standard? Some have suggested usefulness, or utility, but the trouble here is that the same article can be useful to a greater or lesser degree to a different person. Usefulness is a personal matter, a personal relation between the commodity and its consumer. So utility would be a changing, subjective standard and could not explain why commodities consistently exchange at stable ratios. We are thus left with commodities, as products of human labor. The labor theory of value is central to an understanding of the economics of capitalism, because capitalism is commodity production par excellence, and the labor theory of value basically explains what fixes the value of a commodity. At one time there were rival theories of value, but now academic economics tends to deny the need for such a theory. All you need, they say, is a theory of price. We shall see, however, that prices cannot be explained without recourse to the concept of value. Labor, says the labor theory of value, is the basis of value. But how does labor determine the value of a commodity? The value of a commodity, said Marx, is determined by the amount of socially necessary labor contained in it, or, what is the same thing, by the amount of socially necessary labor time spent in producing it from start to finish. Note that the labor theory of value does not say that the value of a commodity is determined by the actual amount of labor contained in it. That would mean that an inefficient worker would create more value than an efficient worker. By socially necessary is meant the amount needed to produce and reproduce a commodity under average working conditions, for example average productivity, average intensity of labor. For instance, take the coal industry, assuming that the average output is about 43 kWts per man shift and there are approximately 230 pits in operation. In some of these output per shift will be above 43 kWts, and in others below, but the value of the coal is not fixed by the labor of the workers at pits of either sort. Its value is the social average brought out by the market. This means of course that what is socially necessary is continually changing. The whole process of producing the commodity coal also includes the labor of workers outside the pits, who are producing materials necessary for coal mining.